Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Bonga Dada Bonga.
Bonga dada
This
bonga,
is
bonga dada bonga, bonga 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 dada bonga.
indeed, Professor. This is episode 14 of Bonga Dada Bonga. This
Bonga
is a
dada bonga.
platform. This is a platform that gives opportunities to women voices. We've been focusing on women in politics in Kenya. Last week, when we had our episode 13, we were just a few days to the general election. And we did mention that week. For now, there's been a lot that has been happening. We've been focusing on our televisions, on the print news, on our social media news. And we are not yet at the point that we can say we know who is winning the presidential election. We have no results because the electoral body has not announced yet. So I want to ask each and every one of us and my co-hosts here and my guest that we observe a minute of silence and pray for peace in this country at this point because God has been gracious to us. So we take a moment, 1 minute, and make a prayer for peace for our country. Thank you very much. And thank you for making that prayer. And it is our hope that indeed God has listened to us and God has been faithful because we've experienced a lot of peace during the voting time. Let me say this. The general elections happened on 9th of August. It was Tuesday. And of course, I had to conduct my civic role to go and vote. And I must congratulate the electoral body and other government agencies that were involved in managing the general election in Kenya because it was smooth, there was peace. I took a record of 5 minutes to vote and I was out of the polling station. But before I proceed, we have quite a number of guests today joining us, and they are in the studio. And I wish to confirm that we have Professor Dash Anabaking, who will be joining us in a few to give us the background about Bonga Dada Bonga. We have Nana. Nana is joining us, from across borders and in fact across many continents, and she'll be sharing with us the views of Kenyan citizens living in the US about the general election. We will be also joined by, we will be playing an interview, I beg my pardon, that we interviewed some of the guests who could not be with us today just before the general election, and we'll be playing their video. But to note, and this is the culmination of our show today, we have a guest. And our guest tonight is none other than an aspirant who has vying for the position of Senate in Njeri County and should be here to share with us her experiences on the Kenya election day. So over to you, Professor Dashanaba King, for the background.
Thank you very much. It is indeed a beautiful day. This is the first time that I have actually experienced being in Kenya during a election. What I will tell you is that foreigners usually make this their vacation time and they go away. And in fact, I was speaking with a colleague who had been in Kenya with a family of 14 on tour. And as they were leaving out on Sunday, going back to the States, they said the airport was so crowded And most of the
Mm.
people there were people who was choosing to leave and go on vacation. So this time for me, I am here with you because what we conceived to do was a thing called Bonga Dada Bonga. And how it happened, ladies and gentlemen, is during the month of March 2022. The theme, break the bias. Break the bias theme for Women's History Month 2022. So Queen Mother Speaks brought in women from various countries and in various professions to talk about that. What biases have they had to break? Or what biases have they had to face? Or what biases have they even experienced if it was somebody else experienced secondhand? And it was a great show. We brought all the women on the entire month of March. But when March was over, we did have on the show when we invited women from Kenya. They started talking about what's going to happen to us during the election. Remember now, this is back in March. And so, okay. But even after the month of March was over, we kept getting SMSs about the women voters and what's going to happen. Are they going to treat them the same? What's going to be different? What can we do? What should I do? What can you do? And so I'm like, okay, I was planning on taking maybe a vacation, but let me go inside and consult with my inner soul. And that's what I did. And I said, well, what am I supposed to do? Everybody's asking me. And what I got from my inner soul was simply this: you have a platform, use it. Bingo! And that was the birth, the genesis of Bonga Dada Bonga. So we started doing the show in the month of May. We're now into episode number 14 of 20, and it's been a great thing. So that's how we got Bonga Bonga started. Thank you for that. My host, Rose, back over to you.
Indeed, Professor, and thank you very much for such a wonderful background. This is your show that gives women a platform to air their voices because it's important that we hold the hand of another woman, give a space to another woman to air their views, be able to share experiences, network, and be able to add value to each other. Thank you very much for joining us again. This is your show, Bonga Dada Bonga. We are in episode 14. This is a show that comes to you every Thursday, 7 p.m. East Africa time. We are glad that you're joining us. And now, we do not only have citizens in this country who are voting because they stay here, even Kenyan citizens who are living abroad, they are able to vote during this time. And with us is Nana. Nana will be sharing with us experiences and views of Kenyans living abroad and particularly in the USA on general elections. You're welcome, Nana. Nana, you're on mute if you
There we go.
could unmute. Oh,
I would
awesome.
like to say for all of the Kenyans who were very peaceful, I appreciate it. I have been blessed also. I'm with the Queen Mother Speaks show, and I'm one of the historians for Faces of Rap Mothers. What's been exciting for me is that Queen Mother Daktari and I were able to use this platform for to promote women in politics in the country of Kenya. And we've been able to build a Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, and a YouTube page. So I want to encourage you all first, please go out, follow, like, subscribe, so that we can continue to network with women and candidates and politics around the world. We wanted to give women in Kenya, in the rural areas, and those who have been marginalized, we wanted to give them a voice, unprecedented, so that if they didn't have phones, credits, computers, laptops, money for internet cafe, they could access the whole world with their views, their platform, and their experiences during the election. I have never in my life seen an election where women were portrayed as being loose women, prostitutes, having abortion, and belittling the women. So as I went around doing the social media for Bunga Data Bunga and building the site, talking to students, the views of the students was that even if they participate in this election, it's not going to make a difference. And so their turnout of the young people appears to still have been very low because their hands were tied. They talked about the show where we did the 2/3 rule, and that it has not, even though it is a law, that it has not made, it hasn't been instituted the way it was supposed to be, because at the time I talked with them, it was only 1/12 women in positions. The Kenyan youth felt that women couldn't be effective because the women's representative position didn't have a budget. And you know yourself, with no money, your hands are tied. What can you do? So I had to tell them, well, we have to focus then on ways to get the women representatives a budget, even if exterior or external grant money is sent to them so that they can be effective. So then they pointed out to me that here in America, we make T-shirts and pass them out for political campaigns and for the supporters of politicians. But in Kenya, they do the fabrics. They do the fabrics, and they sent me the pictures of people in the yellow wrappers and blue wrappers. You know what I mean, Rose?
Yeah.
So your budget has to be a lot bigger. They said they give aprons to the women and men in the markets, and that the women in the rural areas didn't have the money to put candidates, to put their political paraphernalia, pass them out. They don't have money for that. And then some of the political parties that the women were in, yes, and the caps and shirts. And but some of the parties that the women were allocated to don't give women the budgets to do this. And so then that ties their hands. And then the other thing I heard a lot of people talk about was coming through the primaries, the women, they made lists as if the people had already been elected. They were saying there's so many different tricks that are used in Kenyan politics till the people don't know what to believe. They don't know who to believe. And then they were citing 30 years of violence in the Kenyan campaigns and elections, slashings, beating, robbing. So then I tried to turn it positive and say, well, the police have joined forces with the judicial system, and that they promised that they would bring people to justice within 2 weeks. So here on Bunga Dada Bunga, I proposed with Daktari that in 2 weeks' time, actions have been taken to bring the people to justice who committed crimes during this election and brought violence. And I also want to take a look and see if we can get to the bottom of who it was that was being violent during the elections. Was it organized? Was it impromptu? Because 30 years of violence and no one being prosecuted was another thing that they focused on. They're saying, nothing's going to be done, nothing's going to change. I said, well, something has changed, because we have given our platform, which is worldwide. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States, and we have had people from at least 20 different countries on our shows, and our shows have reached even more countries than that. But we report the news around the world. And on that note, Rose, I had also want to say there's flooding in Kentucky and wildfires in Spain. So please keep the other countries and other people in prayer. There's just a lot going on in this world. So I wanted to say thank you to all of the Kenyans who were peaceful. I want to take time to say we participate. We're glad you participated in the political process, but they need to take a look at this political process and ask themselves, why is there still violence going on? Predictably, so that foreigners can plan a vacation. That doesn't make sense. That they can plan their vacation around the violence in Kenya. Thankful to God that my good friend of more than 30 years, Queen Mother, was safe. They actually published maps that we looked at, and I sent her to show where the violence was going to be. So So it's not like if I can find where the violence is going to be, and in Kenya before the election, the police should be able to have the same map. And so I
Yeah.
wanted to petition, and I've posted that I wanted there to be peace and for people to be peaceful, because we just came out of one of the religious high seasons, with Ramadan, Easter, Lent. All the different religions have that prayerful, peaceful time and where they dedicate themselves to God. So I was hoping that this would spill over to the election season. So it seems to have had some effect. And then there's
Yeah.
some people who said they thanked us for trying to change things, but things are not going to change overnight. I told them one person in the world, not just
Mm.
in your city, not just in your home, but that we
Yeah.
hope that people learn that one person lighting a fire in themselves can make a difference. There's so many people we could point to here in America: Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. Whatever you do, if you do it with excellence, and if you stand firm, one of the things that you all is that we started with the young people on Kenya for us, because Queen Mother and I, I'm not on the ground there, and I can't do everything. So some of the teenagers that were in the Nairobi community who were visiting from the rural areas actually did some research for us, and we were trying to train them and give them hope that they could get into politics and they could make a difference. And by starting with the young people, we could change things. What do you
Yeah.
think, Ed Rose?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a narrative that we need to keep on changing and sending positive vibes,
Yes,
so that even as we prepare for the future, we are much better.
right.
And it's a learning for us and strategies, and that's why today we have a guest who has gone through politics who could share with us some of those strategies.
Yes. Here in America and in other countries, the men would be afraid to
Mm.
talk about women's personal hygiene, their decisions with their bodies. I
Yeah,
heard that they were telling me, well, they were scaring the women out of politics by saying they've had abortions or they're sleeping around and things like that. They would be really afraid to say these things here. No one would go to their stores. They would boycott, is what that's called, their stores, their businesses. No one would support them. They will not be elected. They would be dragged, as we say, dragged through the mud,
yeah,
not literally, but just they would be talked about so bad. They may
yeah,
lose their jobs. They'd have to issue apologies to these women in many countries around the world, and that doesn't seem to be happening in Kenya. I still think we should push for the apologies to these female candidates and women in politics who
yeah,
were ostracized, made fun of, and slandered. The men should still have to apologize. So in the next election, they will be afraid to do that.
yeah.
Back to you, Rose. Thank you for.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nana, for sharing your experiences of Kenya general election in the USA, and we're glad that you could share some of discussions, some of the conversations, and some of the tips that in the future we could use.
Thank
I'm
you.
so delighted to have today, and at Bonga Dada Bonga, we are so happy that tonight we have a guest. Not only a guest, but someone who has been an aspirant of a senatorial position in Nyeri County. Nyeri County is one of the 47 counties in Kenya. She has a very long profile, amazing one. But above all, Mercy is the board of Kenya Association of Member Business Owners. Also, she's a member of KEPSA Youth and Gender Sector Board and Amani Foundation. I would like to invite Mercy Waithanji, who has been vying for the senatorial position at Nyeri County, just to first introduce ourselves. Mercy, we are glad that you're joining us this evening. Please welcome and introduce yourself.
Rose, I see that we've got her on screen, but right now her photo is not showing. Let me reach to her to open up her mic.
Okay. Mercy,
And
I can see you. Yes, thank you very much
Yes,
for joining us. Please
yes.
introduce yourself.
All right. Good evening. I love
Good
this.
evening, Mercy.
I love what I'm hearing about bonga dada bonga. I really appreciate, and I need to apologize because I am in the village, and where I live, the network is not so good. So I decided to come to town to look for a place where I can hold this meeting. However, I am in the car and it's good enough, and I hope you can all see me. So it
yes,
is
we see
true.
you very well.
Thank you so much, and thank you,
Sure, Mercy.
Professor King. Yes, I really appreciate
Thank you.
that you
Yes,
invited me to this show, and it is
yes,
true. I was an aspirant or a candidate, and I was looking
yes,
into being the senator of Njeri County on an
yes.
independent ticket.
Wow.
But as you all know, there were so many challenges, and unfortunately, the electorate in Njeri was not even looking at the person, the vision, and how they can be helped, because some of the things you have outlined are so true. There are issues that only women understand that their fellow women go
Yes,
through, and children and the youths. And I had a very good vision for the county. But at the end of the day, being independent, I had very limited resources. I went around the
yes,
county and I saw the devastation in some of the constituencies. And I told them
yes,
we would work together to make a difference. But at the end of the day, we had two major parties, Azimio and Kenya
yes,
Kwanza, or UDA and
yes,
Jubilee, especially in Nyeri County. And it came to a point where the constituents panicked because they really wanted their either Azimio or UDA to go through. So in Nyeri, Murang'a, and Kiambu, they voted what we call suit. What suit means
yes,
is that everyone in that party, when they went to voting, they didn't care. They just looked for UDA and ticked UDA candidates, regardless
yes,
of their standing, regardless of their manifesto, regardless of their vision or lack of vision. So
yes,
it just worked that way. And when I asked the voters, do you want to remain the same? Do you want still
yes,
to be in health centers that are not equipped with anything, reagents, drugs? And even
yes,
when you crowd in the higher level hospitals, there are still no drugs because the money probably has been diverted, and it's the senator's job to
yes,
ensure that that oversight, that money allocated to hospitals must get there. Surely, don't you want a difference? One of the electorate told
yes,
me they are used to problems and nothing is
Mhm.
gonna change. So
yeah,
all they want is their party to win. And I
yes,
just thought, wow, we need a lot of civil education. The electorate need
yes,
to know their rights, because they
yes,
don't even know their rights and they don't even know that they don't know. That is the height
mhm,
of ignorance I noticed within the
yes,
electorate. And it is true,
sure,
there was also a lot of voter apathy among the youth, again,
yes,
because of lack of civil
mhm,
education. So, like
mhm,
80% of those that could vote did not vote, did not even register to vote. And the 20% that registered, only again 20% voted, because they believed
mhm,
it doesn't matter, that their vote does not count. Sometimes I would
yeah,
cry premium tears knowing what that meant
mhm,
for the nation.
Yeah.
So, and then as an independent candidate, campaigning singularly, meaning alone and with
Mm.
limited resources, cutting
Yeah.
across 5 constituencies and around 50
Yes.
wards was quite a tall order, was very expensive, the logistics. As an independent candidate, I only had enough. In fact, I barely had enough even for the logistics. And because I don't believe in handouts and buying people, I tried just selling them the vision that things would get better. But they are hungry. People are so hungry. They kept asking me for money. And I kept telling them, I don't have money. But guys, I know where you can get the money. Kenya has many opportunities. There are so many funds. I'll
Yeah.
hold your hands and take you to where money
Yeah.
is. But it is not in Mercy's
Yeah.
pocket. But they couldn't believe it because they've been cheated all the time by, because what we have is more a culture of politics in Kenya than a
Yes.
culture of
Yes.
leadership. So we have a
You're right.
scarcity of leaders. But we have
Yes.
politicians in abundance, some of who
Yes.
have integrity issues. And when
Yes.
money is entrusted to them so that it goes to work for the electorate, they divert it and put it in their pockets to recover what they've been dishing out.
Yes.
It is disastrous. I don't know what you
Very
can
much.
do, but I'm happy because together with Bonga Dada Bonga, we have enough time
Yes.
to prepare for the next cycle.
Yes,
Indeed.
indeed.
It
Yes,
did. And thank you very much, Mercy, for being candid. And at this point, I want to congratulate you and say, whether you won or lost, we are all winners because we have a space. And success in life is not for those who run fast, but rather for those who keep on running and always on the move. And I can say you're in the car, you're on the move. And I
yes,
wish to congratulate you because I know this next time and we should not lose the spirit. Now, Mercy,
sure.
you've said that we have, in your statement, you mentioned that we have scarcity of leadership. And also in your manifesto, I ran through and seen what is the areas that you're focusing on, and especially empowering the youth to ensure they access the skills, and the small grouping to ensure they access funding to continue
Yes,
empowering them in their small businesses. And I know for sure for you coming from the background of women business owners, you have a
yes,
lot of interest in women in business. And part of
yes.
my concern has been I'm not too sure. I mean, there's any statistics that is available in this country in regard to women, how many businesses are owned by women, and what is it that we are doing to women to continue empowering them, because it is important every time for women in business to be empowered in the areas of finances, bookkeeping, governance, HR matters. I don't know what's your take in that based on what you are focusing on in your manifesto.
That is very true because I realized that very, very many women business owners, uh, about 90% run small businesses, kiosks, stands, what we call mama mbogas, and even from being a member, board member of Kenya Association of Women Business Owners, we would see that there is need to build the capacity of those women so that at
Yes,
least they have a plan to grow their businesses from where they are to where they
yes,
ought to be. So I thought that as a senator, I would mobilize funds for capacity building for such small businesses owned by women, youths, and people with disabilities. And because we also have
yes,
low hanging fruits within the national government and within the county in the procurement law,
yes,
I also hoped that as a senator, I would
yes,
oversight procurement to make sure that 30% of the procurement budget was given to women, youth, and persons living with disability. And not only that
yes,
they'd get the business, they would also be paid within 30 days, because counties and the
Yes.
national government are notorious of not paying the bills and
You're right.
therefore running the businesses down. That is something I was very passionate about, because
Yes.
that's a low-hanging fruit right there, and I am able to fight it or make sure it works and lobby when I'm in a position than when I am just merely the citizen. That's why I was very, very passionate of going to change that, and also ensuring that the 2/3 gender rule, again through a lot of
Yes.
lobbying, getting the women that probably would be together in Senate and Parliament, that we push it relentlessly until it comes to be.
Yes.
So I really thought that
Yes.
would really put the women forward, because
Yes.
culturally, women are not bold enough to step out. Like the way
Yes.
I stepped out to vie for the Senate, which is supposed to be a reserve for men. If you look at the women that vied for governor and Senate and member of parliament, they are pretty few compared to the men, because of the cultural
Yes.
barriers, the barriers that we are trying to
Yes.
break. And you have to step out to break the barrier. It's not so much about winning, it's about participating.
Yes.
It is about getting into the arena. It's about getting into that race. And for me, it was about getting to the ballot. The outcome
Yes.
was really up to God. And that is why I had to go in as an independent candidate again, because as a
Yes.
woman going through primaries, I would never have got to the ballot. That's why I decided to go in as an independent candidate. And many women
Wow.
who went through the primaries were kicked
Yes.
out. And they
Oh
paid
my.
money to be in UDA or to
Yes.
be in BDB. And then they were just kicked out just because they were women. And the parties brought in their friends, or the men who they thought are their friends. And that one really demoralized very many women. Some did not even have the courage to now change and go in as independent candidates. So it was really,
Yeah.
really tough for women. And I am also thank you for
Wow.
congratulating me. I'm patting myself in the back.
Yes.
Yes, I did not win the race,
Yes.
but I participated in the race. I got the beating.
You
I
did.
got everything that anyone in the arena gets. But I finished the race and finished
Yes.
strong.
Yes, yes.
Well done. Well done, Mercy, and I'm so proud of you. You
Thank
because
you.
of your boldness, you're so brave, and you're out here sharing with us and smiling. You have a beautiful smile, and you're showing
Thank
the
you.
world that despite the grandness of the outcome, we can still move on and in a different way, still push the agenda that we wish to push. Let me take
Sure.
you back a little bit to the general election day, which was on 9th of August. That was just one day actually ago,
Yes.
on Tuesday. And I'm
Yes.
sure you managed, after you cast your vote, you managed to go to other polling stations. Could you share
Yes.
with us the experiences, whether there was peace? For me, I shared with mine. I think I voted in a safer place, so I moved in and voted within 5 minutes. I don't know what your experience was.
Generally, because of how vast the county was, I did have
Yes.
agents. I had a chief agent to help me go around polling stations, and I had
Yes.
agents to sit and just make sure that my votes were protected.
Yes.
And Njeri, I would like to say, is generally a very peaceful area, very, very,
Yes.
very peaceful area.
Well
But
done.
and also, okay, so people came, voted, and they left. But I want to
Yes.
make a mention of what I saw the day before that really shocked me to the bone.
Yes.
As I was distributing the badges and the letters to my agents, the
Yes.
roads were lined up with families up to past midnight. families waiting for handouts
Oh my.
from the aspirants, and aspirants gave real money. So those of us who did, anyway, I don't believe in handouts, but they really gave in handouts in the millions. Because you see, even if you are to give 200 shillings to 20,000 families, you can do your mathematics. And there are people who had enough money to do that. And as I said earlier, people are so hungry. So immediately they got that money, and it was about the highest bidder. So it was chaotic. But once they got the money, they knew the following day, like they would be told, you vote for what we call 6-piece suit for the party. If you are voting for everyone, regardless of the history or what is known about them, just vote them in. If it is the other one, just vote them in. So you can see independent candidates and other candidates who are campaigning singularly were very, very disadvantaged. So anyway, but the voting process was very peaceful. And IEBC for me in my county, I think they did a commendable job. And the whole business was quite transparent from the stations I was able to visit.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that is good to hear from you. And being a candidate, you can candidly say that those peace and people could vote and walk out and go back. But one of my worries, Mercy, is about what you've just mentioned about the handouts being given.
Yes.
What is it? What's your view? Because also this has been my concern. What is it that we can really do to rise above the handouts, such that even if someone approaches me and say, "Here is $1 for you," I say, "No, I don't want," and really look at issues and vote for people who are ready to advocate for agenda. Because how do you sell your next 5 years just by $1 or $2, and then the next few years you're struggling? Allow me first to apologize because of our internet connectivity in the country. A lot of Kenyans are online. Over 40 million Kenyans are online tracking the results of the election. But over to you, Mercy. What is it that we can do to rise above these handouts?
First of all, I have told you already that we have plenty of politicians, but a scarcity of leadership. That is number one, because it's only a great leader who can advise people to rise above selling their birthright, because a vote is a birthright, really. And it makes all the difference, the kind of, whether you elect a politician or a leader. That is number one. And civic education is very important, and no single person can educate the electorate. And someone says that the electorate is as corrupt as their politicians. And that is what is biting us. Because as long as they look at money and they don't look at the future, then we'll have this cycle repeated again and again and again. But if everybody said we are not giving handouts, that would work. But you see now, in lieu of their the political of limitation. Can you hear? Hello?
Yes, now proceed. We can hear you now, Mercy.
Yes, I was saying that number one, and if it's the civil society, we need really a real movement to educate the voter, build their capacity, tell them $1, you get $1, you get $0.50. and you suffer for another 5 years, and the cycle is
Yes.
repeated. Why don't you refuse to take that dirty money? So
Yeah.
there's a lot that needs to be done. It's only
Yes.
education and capacity building of the electorate, I think, and also for those
Mercy, we keep on losing you.
compromise. Agree among
Yes.
themselves not to compromise.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry about the internet connectivity. We've kept on losing Mercy, but I think we've heard what she said. That I mean, at this time round, and I'm glad, Mercy, you put it loud and clear. We have scarcity of leaders, and we continue trusting God that a lot of us keep on endearing ourselves and making ourselves better in leadership skills. Because if you're not inborn, you can always acquire and become a better person. But civic education, you've persistently and insistent, is very important. Do you think that we wait until the end for us to go and start enlightening citizens? Do you think we need to start right now? You know, in employment, we are told if you get employed today, you start your journey towards retirement. So do you think we should start today by empowering and capacity building of citizens in the country and saying, this is your right, don't sell your birthright, don't be cheating the money that comes to you. It is because the member of parliament, the governor, the senator is so nice, but this is coming through affirmative action. This is allocation from the government. Do you think we start too late to enlighten citizens?
Actually, the best time to enlighten them could have been yesterday in the past, but the next best time is now. Enough.
Yes.
We should have a way, even through chief,
Yes.
have educated them, and the education should start as soon as possible. How? I don't know. Probably we need to get together and agree when and how this should start, but it should start
Yes.
immediately, because in the course of this cycle, of course, they will suffer. The money that they got
Yes.
has to be recovered, and it has to be recovered 1,000-fold. So they still will not
Yes.
have the medicine in hospital, the equipment that is needed. They must continue suffering, because how will those people get the money they use? So
Yes.
they must be told why they are suffering. They must be taught their right, that access to health care is actually a
Yes.
birthright. Access to quality
Yes.
education is a birthright. Access to information
Yes.
is a birthright. We have funds left, right, and center, affirmative action funds, which the electorate know nothing about. How do that information get to them? So in the process of doing civic education, we get people who are passionate. We get human rights
Yes.
activists. We get people like us who've been, aspirants and know what's happening on the ground. We all get together as women. We get together with Econet. I think there is Econet that really supports women aspirants. We get together, all of us together, and consistently, persistently educate the electorate. And I'm telling you, the next cycle will already break the barrier that makes them
Yes.
elect the wrong people.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much, Mercy Waithanji, for sharing your thoughts about the general election. We just concluded. Please stay on. Please stay on. We're gonna take a break just to ensure that we're going on. But before the break, I want to say that last week, Bonga Dada Bonga conducting surveys, and I was asking the question, what is your view on the general election and voting for women? And amazing, I'm having a feedback here from one Patrick Gadara. Patrick Gadara is it's a it's a communication consultant and writer and award-winning political cartoonist based in Nairobi, and said that the Kenya election on of August is being described as the most boring Kenya has had. I don't know why would someone have that view. I don't know whether you have a response to that, Mercy, before we take a bit. Why would these elections be termed as the most boring?
Oh, it's a question to the network had dropped a bit. As I said, there is a lot of voter apathy. That's number one. And as the young people come of age, they refuse to register. Why?
Yes.
Because they are disappointed by the kind of leadership they end up getting, yet they are not aware that their vote could change that. Secondly, even not just the youth, but people generally, because of not seeing any serious impact. They don't see the point
Yes.
of going out early, nice and early, go and vote. So then, they don't care. They have that don't care attitude. Again, because
Yes.
of lack of knowledge. They are very, 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 very ignorant. So then it becomes boring
Yes.
because people are not participating. Imagine, people have no hope. Also,
Yes.
that hopelessness. Things are worse
Yes.
now than they were 5
Yes.
years ago.
Yes.
And most likely they know they'll
Yes.
even be much worse in the next 5 years.
Mm.
That's why they
Yeah.
are bored
Yeah.
and indifferent. Yeah.
Oh my, oh my.
Yeah.
Indeed, it has been a difficult time with the economic crisis and prices escalating. The price of gas has gone up, the price of food and any other commodity, basic commodity is up. But stay on, Mercy, we'll be getting back to you because you've mentioned about youth not getting interested, youth hopelessness, and the country has been hopeless. Stay on because we want to pick up that conversation about the youth. But now we take a break, 5 minutes break, as we play a video on some interview that we conducted last week.
Okay.
Okay, Professor.
Okay, we've got it on. It's being a little crazy here, but let's see if we can get it to play.
We apologize to our viewers. This internet connectivity issues in this country. I think everyone is trying to be on video, on internet. My apologies, and it has become very weak. In fact, I'm connecting to two sources of internet for us to have a successful show tonight. So, Professor, if
We
you
are
could play.
working on it. As you see, it's coming up, but it's doing something I've never seen it do.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to get it to the start button. Well, let's try this to see what happens.
Okay.
So while we're waiting, I don't know if you saw the comment that I put in from Patrick, who writes for Al Jazeera, the news outlet. And he said, this is an un-Kenyan election. The August 9th election is being described as the most boring Kenya has ever had. But this may, in fact, be just the thing the country needs. Patrick, it's writer and award-winning political cartoonist based there in Nairobi. So I'm still trying to even get more feelings from around the world on the election in Kenya. And I wouldn't call it boring. Elections are supposed to be smooth. There shouldn't be violence every time there's an election. People should not be intimidated. So I was happy that they're calling it un-Kenyan. I mean, happy and sad at the same time. It shouldn't be Kenyan to be a violent election. Kenya should always have a peaceful political process that is fair to everyone. And I wrote back to him that women are encouraged by Bunga Data Bunga and our platform to give them a voice to be bold and not stop participating in the political process because they're being shamed. I am the most positive person, Rose, you ever want to meet. The most
Uh-huh.
positive. I really am. But I want fairness. And I'm not for women only. I'm for strengthening families. But what I want to explain to the Kenyan population and anybody who's seeing this around the world, that when women are in leadership, we want hospitals for everybody so that when anyone is sick in our community, we have access to medical care. There's nothing worse for a mother than her child not having hospital, clinic, whatever medical issue her family has, her husband. You want them to have equal access to medical care. You want them to be able to have access to education. You want them to be able to go to school and do something better, to go anywhere in the world. This is a wish a mother has for her children. Now, fathers have the same wish, but for whatever reason, there are counties in Kenya that don't have hospitals, schools, education, universities. They have to travel far. So I think when women are given the voice or the
Yes.
potential to be anything they want to be, to travel. And in Kenya, I was told that they had to sometimes get permission from their husbands to take a child out of the country of Kenya. But it's important the more people travel and move around, even in Kenya and to other countries to see what else is going on, they'll grow. And they bring back information and best practices for business, for school, for industry. And that makes a stronger economy for a country. Is not,
Yes.
it doesn't weaken a country because the women are enlightened, because the women are educated, because the women speak out. That doesn't mean it's disrespectful. There's a healthy exchange that should take place between men and women in a society. Women are not
Yes.
inferior. And I was even told something about it was the length of your dress or skirt, that they were even contesting whether women should wear pants still in Kenya or not. So I want to make sure that we don't want to change a culture or society, but we do want it to be peaceful. We want it to be loving. We want everybody to have equal access and equal rights. Being born a female is not a choice that a child makes. It's a God
Yes.
given, anointed, blessed position that makes this country strong by having men and women participate. So
Thank
the
you very
video,
much.
hmm?
Thank you, Nana, for sharing your thoughts on this. We have a few minutes to close now, and I
Okay,
would like to encourage our viewers to continue sharing and joining the
yeah,
conversation on Bonga Dada Bonga. We are live on Facebook and our YouTube channel. Like,
uh-huh.
share, comment, and yes, you can hear from us, and you're able to join the conversation. And I've seen quite a number of my friends around, and who have joined us, and they're saying hanging on there. And I want to encourage women and say
Yes,
hanging on there, because your time will come. And
yes,
one of the things I believe is that when God appoints that time for you to be in a certain position, you will be. I want to
absolutely.
bring Mercy back, because we have a few minutes to close down so that we can have some parting shots. But first, before I get to Mercy, I want to ask Professor for her parting shots.
One moment, please. I've still been trying to get the video up for us, but at this moment, I'm going to stop sharing. It's not working, and we'll just come back to where we are. My parting thoughts are this: first time being in Kenya, more than 10 years
Right.
of being here for a election.
Mm-hmm.
And what I wound up doing is putting myself inside of a safe house.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea what was going to happen. All I had to go on was what had happened in the past. So I put myself in a safe house even though I am a warrior woman. I just want to make that clear. And I'm not asking you to take that on. And so, I'm grateful that I was in a safe house. And let me just say this about safe houses, they are exactly that.
Yes.
And so it was a great place to be. But I was also able to see the campaign go forward. I was able to see the votes as they came in from county to county. I was able to see both of the gentlemen vying for the top office of president actually make their vote. I was able to see how Kenya does it. And part of what Kenya does is every county gets to be shown. You get to see the people there. I like it. I love it. And
Yes.
so far, it has been peaceful.
Yeah.
It has been peaceful. And we pray for peace as we wait for
Yes.
the results of the
Awesome.
election. We pray that whatever the results are, that people will still be peaceful.
Yes.
It's a few days, isn't it, Rose, that we're expecting the results to come in.
Yeah.
And so my thing to all of you, I want to thank um, aspirant Mercy for coming on the Bonga Dada Bonga show, because
Oh yeah.
she is exactly the kind of woman we're looking for. Those who are bold, those who are beautiful, those who are bodacious, and those who are not afraid to speak out. Kenyan women, you got to start speaking out. You got to start stepping up. You got to step up. You got to step up. You've heard it from Queen Mother. You've heard it
Sure.
from Queen Mother. If not you, Kenyan woman, who?
Yeah. True.
And if not now,
Then
when?
when?
Bonga Dada Bonga says to you, the time is now. Queen Mother Speak says to you, the time is now. Speak, Rose. The time is now.
Awesome.
The time is
Awesome.
now.
Awesome. Awesome,
Nana, are you
Professor.
still there? The time is now. You
Indeed,
got
the
to
time is
step
now.
up and stand up and take your birthright. Since people are not willing to give you what you deserve, God damn it, you're going to have to take it. And you heard it from Queen Mother. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you very much, Queen Mother. That is Professor Dashanaba King, who hosts Queen Mother, a show, which is a show that comes to you every Wednesday from 6 p.m. And we are glad that, Professor, you've been here. You could join us. You are in our studios today, and we are so, so happy. And indeed, you're looking so beautiful. So leadership is looking at those who are also beautiful women. And we are glad you're beautiful and you're looking very nice. I don't know.
And I noticed, do you have on red today?
I'm wondering what happened. We are all
When I
in red.
noticed that Nana had on red. What are we
Yes.
doing? Did you look in my window last night? Isn't it wonderful that we show up in the same colors?
Yeah.
Okay, 'cause
And
we're
I don't
on
know whether
fire.
we don't know whether we still have Mercy with us. Mercy,
Let's see if
if you're
Mercy is
with us,
still here.
and if you could
Let me
join
see
us
if I
back
can
for
go
your
to
parting shots before we wind up. And
okay,
again,
I'm going
even
to exit this screen.
as we wind up, I want to continue encouraging each and every Kenyan to preach peace, to pray for this country, and to continue being friendly, being a good neighbor. Don't curse out your friend because, or your sister or your brother because they voted for the opponent or the other one. Let's know that we are all winners. When we get the best leaders in this country, we are all winners. Oh, thank you, Mercy. And indeed, ladies, you look beautiful. You are all
Thank you,
wearing red.
Mercy.
Ooh, I didn't get the memo.
Let's give Mercy some bonga dada bonga love by clapping and saying bonga dada bonga,
We are
bonga dada
proud of
bonga,
you,
bonga
Mercy.
dada bonga dada
All
bonga dada
around the
bonga.
world,
Thank you.
we are
Thank
proud
you.
of you for
Thank you.
stepping
We are
up,
proud of you.
standing strong. Run again. We got your back.
That's
The
right. We got
world
your
is
back. It's women like you that's going to make this country stand. Yes,
Yes,
indeed.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
so Mercy,
you.
you have 1 minute to give us your parting shot. We are ending the show in the next 1 minute, kindly.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Queen Mother. I didn't know, but now I know who Queen Mother is, Prof herself. And you have talked about very profound things. And just to add on to what you have said, we men have to step out, as you said. And let me give advice to my dear sisters out there. This is how we're gonna play the game.
Hey.
When people sit, we stand. When
Mhm.
others stand, we stand out. When others stand out, we become outstanding. When others become
Amazing.
outstanding, we become the standard.
Oh,
And if we do that for a fact, persistently, consistently, we will take our country far. So the struggle has just started. Let it
Hey.
pick momentum.
Yes.
Thank
Hey.
you.
Thank
I
you.
tell you, I wouldn't have put it any better. Thank you very much, Honorable Mercy.
Yes.
I wouldn't have put it better. You've put it in the right way. So I have no additions, no subtractions, but to wish you well and say that keep on doing what you're doing, because as a leader, you have to keep on moving. You have to keep on overcoming the obstacles, and
Yes.
especially as a woman in this country. One of the
That's right.
things as African women we face is a lot of obstacles in leadership positions. I
Yes.
mean, you're almost experiencing a gentleman, and all with all the respect with the gentleman, including the one in my house, is that they almost come to give you a transcript or a manuscript for how you should lead. Someone came one day in my office and is asking me, "Can I draw for you a dashboard?" And I say, "I don't have to use the physical, and I have a soft copy of a dashboard." So they are almost like coming and saying, "This is the way you need to do your things," not realizing that in you as a woman, you are a leader. Nana, you have 30 seconds for your parting shot. 30 seconds, kindly, Nana.
I just want the women and politicians and the people of Kenya to know the world is watching. You are not
World is
isolated
watching.
anymore. And the people from Kenya who are in America and around the world are watching what is going on in Kenya. And they have
Sure.
the women's back because some of them have had to leave their country to have freedom. But we are praying for you. We love you. And we are so proud of you, Rose, for hosting the show. Thank you so much. You have been awesome. Thank you, Queen Mother. This is Teresa Kemp, Nana Afua Adezuwa the first. I'm the Queen Mother of Men Kassim. I'm a historian worldwide. So you know, ladies, you all have a friend that you can call on who will show up and get your voices heard. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nana, for wonderful comments. Indeed, the world is watching Kenya.
The
I've had a
world
lot
is
of
watching
conversation.
Kenya. The
Yes,
world
and
is watching the women.
yes, I've had a lot of conversation and phone calls from all over the world, and everyone wants to know how the results streaming. And I'm glad that we
Yeah.
are able to stream our results online and people can watch from all over the world. So indeed, I want at this moment to encourage Kenyans and say, this is our country. Let's take care of it.
Yes.
The world is watching. And to encourage you, Mercy, and other leaders, women who have been in these positions, who are vying for various positions, and they did not get the ticket they were looking for. But don't worry, because we are all leaders. Continue doing what you're doing. Continue championing for the agendas that you believe in. And I'm sure in the next 5 years, we'll have made a difference.
Big
We
difference.
at this particular point, I just want to say thank you very much for joining us. This show was wonderful and exciting because of the four ladies who are all wearing red, and well done, you all look beautiful. Please,
Thank
every
you.
time, look forward and light the candle of another woman. Hold the hand of the other woman and ensure that you walk through with them. I am here because women have walked with me.
Yes.
Professor Dashanaba King here, who is my senior and was my lecturer, has worked with me. Other senior women in this country, they've held my hand and encouraged me and said, it is possible. And so if we could continue preaching the same gospel and tell those who are behind us, the youth, that it is possible as a woman to get to what you're looking for, and with God, everything is possible. With that, we may not have enough time to continue this show, but I want to encourage everyone who is watching us from across the globe, continue visiting our Bonga Dada Bonga webpage, and
Bonga
we are
dada bonga.
streaming
Bonga
live
dada.
on YouTube
Bonga
page,
dada.
Bonga Dada Bonga. We will see you on Opicent 15 next week, Thursday, same time, East Africa time, and Professor Dashanova is dancing and dancing. So I want you to thank all of you women leaders in your own capacity and say bye for now. We meet next week and we look forward to an
Bonga
exciting
dada bonga. Bonga
time.
dada.
Thank
Listen,
you
I'm
very
happy.
much.
I'm happy because it was a very peaceful election thus far. So this is the
Indeed.
joy that you're seeing in me. Bonga dada bonga. Bonga dada bonga. Bonga dada bonga dada. Come on. Bonga dada bonga. Every Thursday, live at 7 p.m. Kenya time, 12 noon, New York Eastern Standard Time. Bonga dada bonga. Bonga dada bonga.
All right, with
Thank
us,
you, Mercy.
yeah, we end it there. Professor Dashanova King is so exciting. Every time she speaks to me, I just laugh. So we end it there, and I say Kwaheri from Kenya. We are streaming live from Nairobi, Kenya. I've been your
Come
host,
on,
Rose
Nana.
Maria. Thank you for joining. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Come on, Rose.
Is muted. Bye-bye.
Come on, Honorable. Let us see your hands. All
The women,
right.
Rose, the women can stand on our shoulders and we can push them up. Yes.
Indeed.
They can
Indeed.
stand on our shoulders. We have learned. Yes.
Sure.
They
All
don't
right.
have to
Bye,
fight
France.
back.
Bye for
Bye-bye.
now. Bye, bye for now.
Bye. Good
Bye.
Bye.
night.